सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्ध ज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशांताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम यैरिमे गुरुवे पूर्वं पदवाक्य प्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ओम भवता जनता सुविता भविता निजबोधविचारणचारुमते कलयेश्वर जीव विवेकविदं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। ओम समस्त ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः ऋषिभ्यो नमः मुनिभ्यो नमः गुरुभ्यो नमः श्रुतिमात्रे नमः मंडूकमहर्षये नमः गौडपादाचार्यवर्याय नमः आद्य शंकर सद्गुरवे नमः अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। अथ अथर्ववेदान्तर्गत माण्डूक्य उपनिषत् शांति मंत्र मूलमंत्र पारायणम्। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम ओम इत्येतदक्षरमिदगं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवद्भविष्यदिति सर्वमोङ्कार एव यच्चान्यत्रिकालातीतं तदप्योङ्कार एव सर्वं हि एतद्ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात् जागरितस्थानः बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुग्वैश्वानरः प्रथमपादः स्वप्नस्थानः अन्तःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविविक्तभुक् तैजसः द्वितीयपादः यत्र सुप्तो न कञ्चन कामं कामयते न कञ्चन स्वप्नं पश्यति तत्सुषुप्तं सुषुप्तस्थान एकीभूतप्रज्ञानघन एव आनन्दमयो हि आनन्दभुक् चेतोमुखप्राज्ञः तृतीयपादः एष सर्वेश्वरः एष सर्वज्ञः एषोऽन्तर्यामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवाप्ययौ हि भूतानां नान्तप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतप्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानगनं न प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञम् अदृष्टमव्यवहार्यमग्राह्यमलक्षणमचिन्त्यमव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः सोऽयमात्माधि अक्षरम् ओङ्कारादिमात्रं मात्रापादाः पादाश्च मात्राः पादाः मात्राः मात्राश्च पादाः अकार उकारो मकार इति जागरितस्थानः वैश्वानरः अकारः प्रथमा मात्रा आप्तेः आदिमत्वाद्वा आप्नोति ह वै सर्वान् कामान् आदिश्य भवति य एवं वेद। स्वप्नस्थानः तैजसः उकारः द्वितीया मात्रा उत्कर्षादुभयत्वाद्वा उत्कर्षदिह वै ज्ञानसन्ततिं समानश्च भवति न अस्य ब्रह्मवित्कुले भवति य एवं वेद। सुषुप्तस्थानः प्राज्ञः मकारः तृतीया मात्रा मितेः अपितेः वा मिनोति वा इदं सर्वम् अपितिश्च भवति य एवं वेद। अमात्रः चतुर्थः व्यवहार्यः प्रपञ्चोपशमः शिवः अद्वैतः एवमोङ्कारः आत्मा एव संविशत्यात्मनात्मानं य एवं वेद य एवं वेद। ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम अजमभिजनियोगं प्रापदैश्वर्ययोगात् अगतिजगतिमत्तां प्रापदेकं ह्यनेकं विविधविषयधर्मग्राहिमुग्धेक्षणानां प्रणतभयविहन्तृब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि प्रज्ञावैशाखवेदक्षुभितजलनिधेर्वेदनाम्नोऽन्तरस्थं भूतान्यालोक्यमज्ञानि अविरतजननग्राहघोरे समुद्रे कारुण्यादुद्धधारामृतमिदममरैर्दुर्लभं भूतहेतोः तं यस्तं पूज्यापि पूज्यं परमगुरुममं पादपातैर्नतोऽस्मि यत्प्रज्ञालोकभासा प्रतीति मगमत् स्वान्त मोहान्धकारः मज्जोन्मज्ज च घोरैः असकृदुपजनोदन्वतित्रासने मे यत्पादावाश्रितानां श्रुतिसमविनयप्राप्तिरग्राह्यमोघा तत्पादौ पावनीयौ भवभयविनुदौ सर्वभावैर्नमस्ये इति श्रीमत्परमहंसपरिव्राजकाचार्य स्य गोविंद भगवत पूज्यपाद शिष्यस्य श्रीमत् शंकर भगवत कृतो मांडुक्य उपनिषदः गौड़पादीय कारिकाणां च भाष्ये चतुर्थबला शांति प्रकरणमो शांति 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 अथ अलात शांत्याख्य चतुर्थ प्रकरणम ओम आदिबुद्धाः प्रकृत्यैव सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः यस्यैवं भवति क्षान्तिः सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते आदिशान्ता ह्यनुत्पन्नाः प्रकृत्यैव सुनिर्वृताः सर्वे धर्माः समाभिन्नाः अजं साम्यं विशारदम्. Salutations to the Lord, entire Brahma Vidya Acharya Parampara, especially to Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankara, Bhagavan Sri Gaudapada, Bhagavan Sri Manduka Rishi, and also the Atharva Rishi. The Upanishad indicate to us the ultimate truth, its nature, its glory, and also the technique to reach it out. Upanishads also tell us as to what are the inner qualifications which make us fit for traveling in this path of inner journey of knowing ourselves. Upanishads also, or even other granthas, even especially Prakarana Grantha, help us as to how to get ourselves out of the routine, mundane, present living of absolute bondage and samsara. Every one of them are important at that own level, the sadhanas. Where do we stand? Depending on that, that sadhana becomes important to us. If I am at the highest level of total inner purity, total freedom from all the duties, obligations towards the world after fulfilling them, and also at the total detachment from the world. For me, other than the meditation on the truth, no other sadhana is of any use or required. If I am at the level of doubts and confusions and lack of conviction, commitment, inspiration for the truth, then I am at the place of mananam chintanam, where I am yet to discover within myself that it is self alone which has to be reached for liberation permanently from all miseries, limitations, bondages. Even if I am not able to do that, even at the lower level of lesser convictions, lesser informations, what is required for me is Shravanam from the Guru of the Shastras, followed by our own Mananam. That gives us sufficient data. On that data, when we ponder over, then the convictions arise in us about the binding aspect of our world and worldliness, and the conviction about the liberating aspect of the knowledge and pursual and experience of the self or the truth. Even for the Shastra Shravanam, Mananam, we are not, Swadhyayam, we are not fit. That means we have a lot of things to work out with ourselves for getting ourselves to enter into this path. Why we are not able to do our Mananam, Shravanam regularly to become convinced about the truth is in our own mind we have lot of, what do you say, wrong notions are there regarding our entire life, regarding the entire world. The notions in us are in the form of our own identities. What are we? What should be our goal? What exactly now we are doing? What are the convictions we have now? About all these, we have to inquire and find. All that put together tells us that we are Bahirmukha. We are at the level of considering ourselves Upadhi Yukta, Deha Yukta Jiva, and we are not ready even to become a sadhaka. And toward the world, we have so much of illusory concepts about the world, leading to every sort of misinterpretation, and also what do you say, wrong connection, misconnection with the world, that which is never allowing us to enter into these higher paths. All of that we have to sort out, and everything depends on our own thinking, our own analysis, our own intellect. All that analysis, intellect, thinking of the intellect, remember, should be with no biasness. Biasness is coloring of the intellect by the mind, by which intellect thinks what mind puts in front of it as data. Keeping the mind little away, mind means emotions, imaginations, projections, and it has its own variety of habits, ragas, dveshas, उन सबको साइड पे रख के with a pure intellect, when we inquire, then in a smooth, simpler, easier manner, what is the world and what way we are taking the world, that aspect is understood. So too, what are we and how we are taking ourselves, that also is understood, and how we are relating the world with the world is understood. After understanding, then the next question, is it correct? Is it ultimate? Is it best? Can there be any higher and greater than this? Or what is the relation between this identity of myself, this understanding of the world, and my relation with the world, and my misery, and my limitations, and my dukkha? Do they in any way relate? If at all, how? Then what is to be done by me for myself to get out of these miseries? See, the worldliness is such. You can't leave the world and you can't be happy in the world. That is the funniness of the relation between the mind which is relating with the world through the senses and the world. That's the funniest thing. Is it not? When the intellect comes into picture, then it takes the help of the gurus, it takes the help of shastras, it takes its own help of ability to think, contemplate, analyze, understand, and come to little better understanding, so that the problem is reduced at least to little extent. That's the job of intellect, if we use it. If that is not used, the mind related with the world through the senses, expecting some sukha bhoga, never having a raga dvesha, it is an endless saga of only effort, misery, and wasting the whole life. Again, I'm born. Again, lot of effort in the world to gain the world. World is never satisfying me. It will never fulfill what I want, because it's not a mistake of the world. It is myself wrongly relating with the world. It goes on endlessly. Never allows intellect even to start thinking as to what exactly me. पहली बात तो है ना, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं क्या हूँ, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, मुझे क्या पाना चाहिए, मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, क्या समझना चाहिए. All of that are blank only. Even after so many years of listening, if our own personal intellect has not started working, still we are in vagueness. Sometimes we come here to the class as a listener. Sometimes we sit in a puja room as a pujari. Sometimes we are there doing some japa as japist. Sometimes again we go into the world, a worldly person. अरे इनमें से स्थायी भाव में तुम कौन हो? कौन सी चीज क्यों कर रहे हो? There is no clarity. All imagination, all assumptions, all notions. None of them are pakka, authentic, with intellectual conviction. Like even when I am speaking now, who am I? Why am I doing this speech? What is its consequence in me for my own evolution or sadhana? Is it required? How far is it required? Can it be improved upon one aspect? Can it be given up if something is better than this? All that clarity should be there. Then I am not doing anything wrong. If नहीं है, वैसे सुबह आ रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं, आप सुन रहे हो, जा रहे हैं, तो it's all vague thing. So bring intellect into picture and be clear about all. That's the first thing. In that effort, then we know I'm an individuality, undefinable, but defined through the upadhis. After becoming such a definite individual, I am trying to eke out the definite happinesses in the world. But these are all calculations, assumption, imaginary, which will never fulfill in giving the happiness. Therefore, let me search for what I need called happiness somewhere else. Where is it available? Where is it available? We don't know. We go to some master. He says it is nowhere out. It is inside you. Then, right, that moment starts the real spirituality, where we keep on listening from the Guru has to get convinced about that this happiness, liberation, freedom, infinitude is not only in me, but it's my essential nature. It's all theory. Then how to reach to that? Then we are called as the sadhaka first today. And our first sadhana, always for many lives, is only karma yoga. Karma and karma yoga. Through karma, we exhaust all our obligations, all our debts to the world. And by making the karma as karma yoga, we don't add new things. What is karma becoming karma yoga is doing all the to be done karma, which are called dharma or duty, without the phalasakti and without the strong doership. I am doing only to exhaust my prarabdha. I am doing only as ordained by the totality or the Lord. More than that, I have not chosen it to do, nor I want from it anything. When this clarity comes, he becomes karma yogi. Like I am doing this satsang. I am chosen by the Lord to do. I am not the doer. And I am not expecting any substantial, grosser, worldly follow from this. Then this yajna or satsanga becomes karma yoga. And this is where we have to begin. And it is for me. I am into this of studying and talking. So this is my karma kshetra. No other karma kshetra. For you all, you have your own variety of karma kshetras. Make them into karma yoga. And see to it that it becomes natural and habitual. And understand that it is possible and it is to be like that and it should be like that only. What we were leaving our earlier life of, doing the karma for karma phala with the kartrutva was wrong. That conviction should come. And this way of living life as karma yogi is right. This conviction we have to be. Otherwise, we again go back. Again, we enter into a kartrutva bhava for a karma phala. Then we go back into samsara. Every spiritual experiment by us should be to understand that what I am doing is better than the earlier, so that I should not go back to the earlier. Like 7:30 to 9, I am in class. This class not only is to listen and understand all, but should also understand that this is better than what I was doing earlier, whatever it was. So that I will not go into that back and I will be here only. By being here regularly, I'll experience, I do it maximum use of it. Then look for what is better than this. Then I go to that. In this way, we have to help ourselves in increasing, improving ourselves. But all said and done, even after all this, how much we have become antarmukha, how much we have become unbiased thinker in our intellect, in which the goal and means are convinced. Then, how much we are convincingly, joyfully, willingly doing our means or the sadhana. And when it is talked about sadhana, please, you have to for at least a decade or so must be in around the Guru to get all data from him. Not only with our service to him, but our own sincerity and genuineness of learning or knowing. Collect data of all calls are. Then, among all that, where do I stand? What sadhanas are required for me? Is it not? Keep doing. In between again, sthiti, paristhiti changes, timings change. So we may need to change some sadhanas. So you consult the Guru, he will guide you. If you say, I don't want Guru, I don't trust the Guru, then you become your own Guru. But again, you have to be very sublime. Inside, you are doing it genuinely, or we are again biased by the vasanas or the mana, it is difficult to judge. It is more times taking risk only. Therefore, anyway, one day we will leave the Guru. Before leaving, you learn from him, no? When somebody is there from is a representative of Bhagwan to guide us, take the help. Shastra is the best help, but we don't have a capacity to ponder into the Shastra independently at this level. Therefore, in between, the necessity of a living Guru becomes necessary. The Guru is necessity. So take, and Guru is what? He teaches and he says, ठीक है पढ़ लिया ना, अब कुछ आना है जानना है पूछो और नहीं है गुरु महाराज, then go your sadhana. I'm not binding you. You are never bound. You are here to get liberation, not to get bound by me. Ja. But Guru, I want to leave you, I want to forget you, I want to just hate you. You do it. If you love it, if you enjoy it, if you are benefiting out of it, do it. Go. But you got your goal, you got your means. That also in your interest. He is not insisting. If you say, नहीं नहीं मैं जो भी सुना आपसे अब छोड़ रहा हूँ, I'm going back to my own earlier samsara. Guru with a smile says, ठीक है, take care. Gurus are divine. Gurus are different. Gurus are greater than God sometimes. But take the help and get clear, and then start your own personal inner journey. Your own personal inner journey, where you are all alone with yourself. Helps you take, but responsibility is more important than taking the help. And feel that responsibility, take that responsibility, keep on moving. For the outer world, there are many people who are involved. The Prakriti is there, the Ishvara is there, the Samashti is there. So, but for the inner journey, it is my own responsibility, my own duty, my own effort. Others will help if I allow them. Others will trouble if I allow them. Lest else they won't involve. In this conviction, slowly, slowly. Wherever we are exhausted and tired, go to the Lord. Just be at His feet and say, I'm tired, Lord. I want to take some rest at your feet. Please empower me with your Kripa Karuna Drishti. Bhagwan, depending on our faith on Him, He just looks at us and says, Tathastu. It's a beautiful feeling. Then you are energized, rejuvenated. Again walk some more distance. Again tired. Again go to the Lord. Sit at His feet. And in that also there should be no impurity. Like Bharata surrendering to Rama. No trace of impurity. Like Hanuman surrendering to Rama. Not even a thought, an idea, even a dream also of any impurity, even of ego. Like that surrender Sugriva to the Lord. Though little bit he was involving in his own bhoga after getting Rajya, after so much of struggle. But later on, immediately he got that surrender. No doubt. Like that of Vibhishana. Once he said, I am at your feet, once he is at feet. Like Sitaji. I may be put in Lanka with all the golden things, everything and temptation. Other than Rama, nothing doing. Surrender. Like the Lakshmana. He says, Lord Rama is my father, mother, everything. My life is only dedicated surrender to him. Like Vasishtaji. Surrender. Though he is a guru, but he is Bhagwan. I am guru, but he is Bhagwan. So therefore, think. You understand? That sort of thing when we develop. This is the highest level. Surrender, before that faith, then the devotion, also very little emotion. Before that, the doubtful contact with the Lord. We are at the level of doubtful contact with the Lord. That should lead to the emotion of devotion. Then the devotion. Then comes faith. Then comes surrender. They're all different gradations, different levels. That also simultaneously, along with the Vedanta Dhyana, will help us as a complement. So that's what, in short, nutshell, every day, one thought we are discussing 5-10 minutes so that our minds are tuned. Now we are toward the end of Mandukya. The highest things, Bhagavan, Karika teaching us, Shankara Bhagavan is adding to it with his Bhashya. It's like when you have packed the things while traveling, you again ensure both places. In the place where the packed things are kept, कुछ miss नहीं हो रहा है. And at the place from where the things are lifted, there also look at. जब सारे चीज वहां से गाड़ी में रखनी होती है, दृष्टि उनमें होता है, तो सब उसमें रखते हैं. सारे दृष्टि इधर होता है खाली में. But when you put maximum, you can't see anything missing. So you look at here. सब कुछ रखा कि नहीं. But before that, a checklist is made and put all the things. So the eatables, the carryables, and all that. Here also, Karika Kara, just checking the list. Okay, have I given everything? Am I missing anything? Are there any few things to be given without which that student may find a doubt little later, and then he may don't have anybody to ask or surrender. Therefore, he may get stagnant there. He should not be so. In this way, he himself becoming as a Purapakshi and asking questions, and he himself is answering. That's not the questions of these things. Huh? Jnanena, Kramena, Vite, Gneye, all these slokas. हेया ज्ञेयाप्यपाक्यानि विज्ञेयान्यग्रयाणतः तेषामन्यत्र विज्ञेयात् उपलम्बस्त्रिशस्मृतः आदिबुद्धा प्रकृते वा सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः यस्यैव भवति क्षान्ति सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते. These are all the final touches. Then आदिशान्ता हि अनुत्पन्नाः प्रकृतेव सुनिर्वृताः सर्वे धर्माः समाभिन्नाः अजं साम विशारदम्. These are the final most highest touches. After which there will be no doubt. Only one. You have to do your own due effort to reach to that, to experience that. He is doing that. Now, what was the question here in 93rd mantra? Tatha na api shanti karyavyata atmanati aha. So, there is no even the effort required to be done to achieve in the shanti also in the spirituality. Finally, when we are at the mana level, you have to make the mana shanta by giving it proper maturity. When we are at the buddhi level, we have to make buddhi shanta by giving it right conviction with effort. Then, when we have to at the jiva level, you have to make jiva shanta by making him withdrawn from all the three avasthas. But as such, the pure self need not be put in effort to make it shanta because it's adi shantaha. So this mantra is what? Adishanta hi anutpannaha prakrutyaiva sunirvrutaha sarve dharmaha samabhinnaha ajam samyam visharadam. These each of the words of this mantra are a miserable, absolutely leading to failure efforts of putting that experience of the truth in words which cannot be put in words. That's the struggle of the gurus. Will try their best to try to explain that which is inexplicable, define which is undefinable, bring to our notice understanding cognition which cannot be brought into. But it is also trial and error method by the guru. Suddenly, if it clicks, clicking means what? The disciple has caught it. There is a silent celebration. It's very interesting. Like we give all advices and we just wait. If it clicks, it's a silent celebration. Many a time don't click because the receiver is not sincere. I'll tell the literal meaning of the words and why the whole sloka is at the level of absolute self, like it is Adi Buddha, therefore it is not a Gneya Vastu. It itself is a pure conscious self. How and what is the need for it to be known by somebody else? So there I am trying to know myself. I am trying to know myself. From this identity and effort, I just shift my gear track into that I am the self who is aware of everything. Understand? I am the conscious self who is aware of everything. Earlier, what was? I am trying to become aware of my conscious self. I am trying to know myself. I am trying to establish myself. That goes on. But at highest level, अरे भाई वही conscious मैं ही हूँ जिसको ढूंढ रहा हूँ मैं ही हूँ. That's called as Adi Buddha. And I was eternally that. Never ever I was other than this. It was only hallucination and imagination that I thought myself to somebody else. That's why what is Advaita Vedanta? Seeker is seeking his own self. He is the seeker, he is the sought. Therefore, there's nothing great about it at the final level of reaching. It's not a celebration like you have done something great in the world outside. In fact, it's a feeling of ashamedness. How I forgot myself. How I behaved so wrongly. unbecoming of myself. Really, it is me. That's why a Brahmagnani never goes and claims or boasts. There is nothing to boast. बेवकूफ ठीक हो गया तो उसको बोस्ट करने की क्या जरूरत है? Others may boast. He was a बेवकूफ but he became better. But he will not. I am a gnani is not an arrogance. I have to be that. That's it. In the same way, here also, Adi Shantaha. Here also, the Shanti Kartavyata is not there. See, there is a Bandha, there is a Ashanti. Then you become Mukta, then the Ashanti goes, Shanti comes. These are all for whom the assumed Jiva Bhava. He was bound with Upadhi. And all this notional. Any time when you listen to these type of Vedantic words, never forget to remember the Alatha example. That is a thumbnail and central hub point for us, holding on to which we have to understand all Vedanta from now onwards. And all this is theory. The experience comes only when we start from our Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. All of them have to be done to conquer the Prakriti at that level. Because we are living at that level presently with the Upadhi, Tadatmya, with our involvement in the world, which we cannot deny at this moment. Although, theoretically, Shastra Drishti says that is our goal. But that goal, last moment we reach as an experience. Till we reach it, what helps us is this. Till we enter into the portico, you have to trust in the vehicle. After reaching only, you come out of the vehicle and enter into. Vedanta tells us, come out and enter. But what takes us there are all these sadhanas. Otherwise, that theory only will remain, we will never experience it, we'll cheat ourselves. Many Vedantins cheat themselves just by theoretical understanding, they get satisfied without doing all this. And yes, only theoretical understanding can give liberation for a very, very highly qualified person who has totally given up even Dehendra Manabuddhi and all the needs required for them. He gave up. He is the only one who can need not to do and reach it out. Such a person did not give food to his body. He should not feel giving medicine to his body if it is his. Because I am not that. Such why say करोड़ों में एक दो होते हैं बस ज़्यादा नहीं. And what is applicable for crores? Not applicable for all. Sorry, what is not applicable for one or two in the crores cannot be generalized. What I am trying to say? We are studying Mandukya, which is talking about Nanirodho Nachotpatti. It is absolute truth, but it is ultimate goal. But to reach to the understanding, practice, and experience of it, where do we stand? From there only we have to take the help of the other sadhanas and do them and reach. Though without all this, bypassing all this, one can reach, but very rare it is. Don't take a chance. We may be one on, maybe that one who is one in millions. But don't know. Look into yourself. I don't think myself I'm one in million. So I know I have to exhaust all my vasanas. I have to do my karma yoga. I have to get out of the prakriti. I have to control senses, mind. ये तो मेरे को करना ही पड़ेगा. Though I am studying all Vedanta, where Aham Brahmasmi alone is Ekamevadayam, the Jagat is never there. That is the goal inspiring us to do all this sadhana to reach it. Keep that in mind. Okay. So here I am bound, I am miserable as a jiva. Then jiva needs to be liberated from his bondage by getting out of Triupadhi. But what about the self? Self is Adishanta. It's always liberated. It is no connection at all with the Upadhis to get bound because its position, status is so subtle, so sublime. It is Turiya. It's so interesting. It goes through all three. It allows all three in it. It's not touched by them. It's like आकाश. सब आकाश में है लेकिन उस किसी से वो लेप होता ही नहीं. Nothing touches आकाश. Is it not? Nothing limits, nothing binds it. Is it not? Remember, that is the experience one gains when one realizes self. In that we have to have full faith in. Then feel that that is what I have to experience. Then to reach up to that level, get freed by all these other sadhanas. And when the last moment comes, everything is ensured. Like as I told you, when everything is ensured, सब सामान लगाया, चलो गाड़ी को ऑन करके gear डालो आगे बढ़ो. Then also everything is ensured. Now jump into the identity. I am no more a seeker seeking some sort, but I am the sort already. है ना? मैं एक साधक एक परमात्मा को पाने के लिए निकला हूं से मैं ही वो परमात्मा हूं. Final touches. Okay, so this mantra is first literal meaning Adishantaha. Plural I am telling every day is from the number of jivas whom the Guru is addressing. And each one look into himself. He is talking about, though he is using plural, he is talking about me. Like the Guru says, तुम सब लोग सुबह 7 बजे क्लास को आओ. तो तुम सब लोग क्लास को आओ 7 बजे is a general statement in which he use word plural, तुम सब या आप सब, but it indicates to each individual that मुझे 7 बजे आना है. Is it not? So आप लोग सब लोग धार्मिक जीवन जियो. When a Vakta speaks, it doesn't mean he is saying in general to all कि एक दूसरे को चेहरा देखें. What he means is everybody should accept and think that he is telling me. In the same way here, plural is used. Don't get confused that in the self there is plurality. It is said to each individual from their standpoint, number of audience. So that doubt is cleared not once, for last 7-8 days every day. So that's a test Karika is giving us by using the plural word. The one who is establishing Advaita, how can he say plural word? That answer we have to give to ourselves by saying he is addressing the number of sadhakas. It doesn't mean the sadhya vastu is two. Okay. So Adishantaha means they are eternally at peace and bliss and liberation. And this Adishanti is not created out of sadhana. Is it not? It is Anutpanna. That Adishanti is never born. Why? It was never absent. like the waker is not born, from the dream. He was always there. Only in the between, something else appeared only, that gone away. It's not that the dreamer died and waker is born. ऐसा होता ही नहीं है. Same way, it's not that I was Ashanta and I am born now as Shanta. Anutpannaha. Then Prakrutya eva. Be attentive. Prakrutya means, like in the earlier also, Prakrutya eva, by nature only. By nature means truly by itself. Whatever, whenever you use the word Prakriti, it already came. Prakriti स्वभाव न जहातिया करके प्रकृति का डेफिनेशन पहले आया है 20-30 verses back. Prakriti means what? It can't be otherwise. It can't live its own nature. That's called Prakriti. So here the Prakriti adjective is used for what? Shanti Shabda or Sunirvruta Shabda. So the Shantyatva, Sunirvrutatva is by nature, its nature means what? It cannot be otherwise, and this quality cannot be dropped. So Adishantaha, eternally they are at peace and liberation. Anutpannaha, and that state is not manufactured or created by any efforts. Then Prakrutyaha. The Prakrutyaha word goes with all the three. Prakrutyaha Adishantaha, Prakrutyaha Anutpannaha, then Prakrutyaha Sunirvrutaha. Sunirvruta are two meanings. Nirvruta means tracing back or reverting back or disconnecting or withdrawing. Withdrawn. And because of the withdrawal, going into one's own nature. And what is nature is bliss. Therefore, nirvruti means not in contact with anything which makes miserable. Therefore, nirvruti means ever in blissful state. निर्वृत्ति मीन्स आनंद. क्यों कि आनंद को बिगाड़ने वाला किसी से कांटेक्ट नहीं है. दैट इज नेचुरल. नो, दिस इज सच अ पावरफुल वर्ड. If somebody wants to use it, no, it is so helpful. What it is ki by nature I am happiness. That is why everybody want to go to that state. And misery is not our nature. That's why we want to get rid of it. Then how to sort it out? The two ways of sorting out are always feeling I'm miserable and trying to become happy. This is what everybody does, samsari. That is a samsara, struggle. But the other way around, trying to always be in the state of happiness, and whenever the miserable state comes, discard it by saying that it is my not my natural state. What do we do? Remaining in the state of misery, we are going to things and being and temporarily becoming happy and coming back to become miserable. Actually, it's the other way around. We have to be always happy. Temporarily, let us become miserable and come back. Temporarily miserable means what? That misery giving identity with the upadhi and the world. But remain. Prakrutya sushtu nirvurtaha. हैप्पीनेस इज अवर नेचर, अवर ओन ओन, कोई ले भी नहीं सकता उसको। हमारे पास है, वो उसको मानना है बस। जानकर मानकर रह जाओ उसमें बस। दिस वर्ड इज वेरी प्रेग्नेंट, वेरी पावरफुल इफ वन कैन यूज। प्रकृत्या एव सुनिर्वृता। सुनिर्वृत्ति आल्सो मीन्स कंटेंटेड बिकॉज इट इज ब्लिस, बिकॉज इट इज इनफाइनाइट। हु इज इट? दैट इज मी। आई एम बाय नेचर हैप्पीनेस। None of the jiva bhava and upadhis are mine. And at that level, there is misery, bondage, and that misery, bondage will never end because by nature it is bound by the upadhi. Upadhis are unlimited नहीं है, वो conditioned है, continuously changing है. How can there be happiness and that also prakrutya, natural happiness? At the jiva and upadhi level, the misery is natural. That's what we are experiencing now. नेचुरली मिजरेबल, बाई मिस्टेक अब खुशी होता है। इस बात को तो दृढ़ता से पकड़ना। बाई नेचर एंड डिफॉल्ट द उपाधिज आर मिजरी। बाई नेचर एंड डिफॉल्ट द सेल्फ इज ऑफ नेचर ऑफ हैप्पीनेस एंड आई एम दैट एंड रिमेन इन दैट। See, trying to remain happy is such a powerful notion that it takes us to reality because really we are happiness. Just like to be miserable is such a powerful notion that it takes us to that notion that I am miserable so really that I really experience as if I am miserable entity. I'll tell you in a humorous form. For a Adhyatmik sadhaka, there are no national problems or issues. For an Adhyatmik sadhaka, there are only notional problems. Not national problems, notional. It's a notion that I am a jiva, I am miserable, I have to become self and be happy. ये जब तक रहेगा ना, you are always putting effort only. But you can't suddenly, without preparation, jump into Aham Brahmasmi because you are not fit for it. Therefore, definitely try to eliminate the misery by trying to eliminate the cause of it. The two causes are considering myself jiva, secondly identifying with the upadhi, through the upadhi running in the world. थोड़ा उनसे थोड़ा आप हटकर हटना ही पड़ेगा. That's why all these yogas. Yogas means what? Yoking me with my own essential nature called as Ananda. Karma, Bhakti, Jnana are yoking us. They are called yoga to our own Ananda Swarupata. तो इन द इनिशियल डेज एट दैट लेवल जो भी कचरा साफ कर दो, बट लेटर ऑन दिस पॉइंट प्रकृत्या निर्वृत। अब देखो कितना भी सुख है लेकिन लोग जेलसी फील करेंगे, इसलिए एक्ट लाइक दुखी is a tamasha which may be valid in the life, worldly life. Because when you act happy because your riches there, people feel jealous. Therefore, act as if you have done nothing. But when it comes to spirituality, no, kitna bhi we are otherwise miserable as a jiva with all upadhi. Still, try to act to be happy because that's your essential nature. Therefore, this action, though is action, is a good action, good natak. नाटक to be miserable is a galat natak hai, because that's not your nature. Natak to be happy is a correct natak, though it's a natak, because your nature is that. जस्ट हँसो, हो गया, यू आर रिच, बट सो मेनी दुख है अंदर, रहने दो, कम से कम बाहर तो हँस लिया ना, टू दैट एक्सटेंट ही इज सक्सेसफुल. These are all Laukika explanations, example. But what is meant here is the self in all of us is so nirvurata. Means what? It is never ever by any means in contact with anything which gives misery, which is called as bondage. By nature it is. Like by nature, the Akasha is so nirvruta from the fire element to get heated up or burnt. It's a Prakriti. And there's no emotion working there for the Akasha. चल ठीक है, थोड़ा सा आग का मैं अग्नि ले लेता हूँ. Even if the Akasha imagines that I must take the heat of the fire to make the fire happy, it only is imagination, but it can be never real. Because the nature of Akasha is non-touchable by the fire. Is it not? In the same way, the nature of self is such a blissful infinitude, it can never be made miserable by making it finite by any upadhi. वो touch ही नहीं करेगा. It's only imagination. Like the space cannot be caught in between the walls to make it a small space. You may make a wall, you may call it as inner space. अब सब कुछ भी कहो, but ये सत्य नहीं है. Because by nature, Akash is such a sublime thing, it can't be divided. Division can be imagined by putting the walls. That's all your notion. It is our notion that by putting walls, I can make the infinite space into hall space. And that notion of yours helps you, because in that space you are safe and secured as a body. It's a व्यवहार. व्यवहार के रूल्स व्यवहार में चलते हैं, वो वहीं सत्य है. वहां स्पिरिचुअल रूल नहीं लाना. Don't spoil the Vyavahara by bringing the spiritual rules, please. At the same time, transcend the Vyavaharic rules to claim your own spiritual glory. We should know the difference between both of them. हम क्या करते हैं, स्पिरिचुअल में व्यवहार लाते, व्यवहार में स्पिरिचुअल लाते, दोनों बिगाड़ देते. Interesting. So, Adishantaha, literal meaning understood, it's eternally peaceful. Anutpanna, and that's never created. Then Sarve Dharma, so Nirvrutaha. They're all in the Nirvrati, withdrawn, and withdrawn means never touched by, as well as Nirvrata is experiencing the liberation. The Nirvrati means Ananda. Then he says, Sarve Dharmaha, the self in all is, the next, this point is very important. Samaha. Okay. At first level, they are all Samaha. The same. Just like the spaces in every hall are Samaha. You may call them by different shapes because of the walls. But can there be any Vishamata in the space in every of the hall? Kitchen में, drawing hall में, dining hall में, एक ही है वो. They are called Samaha. Try to feel the meaning of that word. Samaha. Same they are. Qualitatively, the selves in all are same. That is, they are consciousness. Or the other three words which are said. Adishanti, Anutpatti, and Nirvruti are the Sama things in every self. Self in you, self in me, self in that person, in that ant or in that elephant or in this small insect. In sab mein, the dharma hai saman sab mein. Clear? Samaha. Same in them. The self in an ant and an elephant, both are Adishanta. Both are Anutpanna. Then both are Nirvruta. This first thing. Second thing, which is the final one, is what? Not only Samaha, but they are Abhinna. What's Abhinnaha? They are not two. That is called as Sarvatmya Bhava. Means Atma in me and Atma in you are not two, they are one. It's a peculiar thing, I tell you. Two Brahmagyanis, when they talk to each other from our observation standpoint, what would be their feeling inside? देखो आत्मदृष्टि हम दोनों एक ही है. Though we are talking Vyavahara as somebody elder or younger according to age or whatever protocol. See that? That's the beauty of it. Like when Vasishtha talks to Vishwamitra or any Guru, Shishya both realized. The Shishya does pranam to Guru. Guru will be always in a mood of talking strongly because he's a Guru. But both of them know, okay, inside we are same. Not only same, we are one. More important is one. Abhinnaha. Now, again, as the Nirvruta word helped us, Abhinna word also helps in a big way. I tell you how it helps, As Dehas, we are eternally Bhinna and we are ever perishable and ever separable. You as Deha, I as Deha are always different, always perishable. हमेशा हम भिन्न ही हैं देह के दृष्टि से, कभी कट्टे साथ नहीं रह सकते हैं. Whatever you do struggle, you will be miserable only in every effort. But from the आत्म दृष्टि आप कुछ भी करो, हम और आप अलग हो ही नहीं सकते. Therefore, interesting point. From the dvesha drishti, say that with any amount of dvesha, you and I can never be separated. जितना भी द्वेष करो, मैं आपको आप मेरे से, हम एक दूसरे से अलग हो ही नहीं सकते. Then what to do? Accept that एक दूसरे अलग नहीं हो सकते. Then drop the द्वेष. That's how the wife and husband, every day they fight and they say, मैं तलाक दूंगी या मत. But they say, I can't live without him or she. Again, therefore, they forget that dvesha that time. है ना? इतने बार every wife has, any cases, not every, not necessary, sorry for that sentence. कुछ कुछ अच्छे भी होते होंगे. But many cases they say so miserable they feel also. That is dvesha comes so much at that incident. कुछ भी हो समय. Small egos. But they say, how can we? In the emotional language of the past, they will say, she looks at our Mangal Sutra and says, उन्होंने बांधा मैं उनको छोड़. वो भी वही मंगल सूत्र मैंने बांधा. How can we? चलो आज खत्म लड़ाई, कल फिर करेंगे. See, dvesha is gone. Is it not? Feel the meaning of this abhinnatva. Now raga hai. Now, why should we have raga when we are never abhinna? When we are ever abhinna and never bhinna? Is it not? Why should I have raga with you? Raga is for that person who has a doubt that will go away from me one day. And I'm always in a dukkha, pain, misery to hold on to that person. And I keep on doing this and that natak. And that will never become successful because your drishti of trying to become one is from the deha sthiti. And that will never happen because as a deha, you and I have to get separated. Even as jiva also. Jiva drishti may be in next life where you are, we don't know. If the bond is strong, we may come together. Depending on prarabdha again, in this life we may be friends. The next life something enemy. Or in this life, the one who killed me, next life he may be my own cousin. If that is known, I'll kill him. That's why Bhagavan makes everything forgotten. बहुत भयंकर होता है जन्म अगर सब कुछ याद है तो. इसे सब भुलाते हैं. That's a different topic. But you see, I and you am never separate. So why should I have raga? I should have prema. And that prema is universal. Because the entire beings are one only. That is me. From that portal, that place, the jnani looks at the world. Therefore, he can never have raga, he can never have the dvesha also. After all, is there anybody other than me towards whom I have to have raga or dvesha? But he could do that after pulling himself and the world's notion from the sthula deha and jiva bhava. आत्म भाव में चला गया. इसलिए उस दृष्टि से देखने का आदत होने के बाद होता है I need not have raga or dvesha to any person. Then that is called real liberation. Even there is no raga dvesha with this body also, because it is anyway perishable known. Whether it perishes or not, the self in me is permanent. Abhinnaha. This one Maha Mantra of Abhinnata, Vedarahityam. If it is made practical, we will never suffer. What is suffering, Establishing Bhinnata one side and trying to bring the oneness other side. This is a big struggle. I always consider you as separate from me, then I try to put an effort to bring you towards me. This contradiction in our effort is called misery. With what is the correct understanding, you and I can never be separable. That's what Gita, first shloka. Neither they were never there, nor you are never there, nor I am. Neither will never cease to be there in the future. We are now also. हम हमेशा एक ही है. आत्मदृष्टि. अभिन्नाः. मजा है कि नहीं शब्द? Every word is so powerful, potent to sort out the worldly problems. Then they are the ones when we hold on to, they give us the experience of self, because they are the nature of the self. आदिशांताः अनुत्पन्नाः सुनिर्वृताः समाः अभिन्नाः. These are the 5 golden words which are telling my own essential nature. Karika Kara, this is how, as if summing up all the essence of spiritual information as well as spiritual confirmation or experience. Always am that. Beautiful. You got to feel it. The amount of strength, freedom from misery, which the practice of these words give, no other thing will give us. But this we have to be able to do genuinely. That you can do only when the mind is relatively peaceful. Therefore, to make the mind relatively peaceful, you have to practice some bhakti, some values of kshama guna, etc., some love, some seva, and make mind peaceful more importantly by accepting the inevitabilities और प्रारब्ध. तभी जाकर शांत होगा. उस मन से ही हम सब कर सकते. A disturbed mind will never listen to wisdom. First, it has to be quietened with that lower wisdom. Then the higher wisdom is given. आदिशांता ह्यनुत्पन्नाः सर्वे धर्मा सुनिर्वृताः. Then सर्वे प्रकृति एव सुनिर्वृताः. Then सर्वे धर्मा समाभिन्नाः. Then ajam samyam visharad. The self in this was not created or manipulated. It is ajam, eternally unborn. It is always like that. Then that samyam is ajam. Then ajam is samyam. Samyam is already came in the first line, samatva. And the visharadam is shuddha. अच्छा हो गया ये वाला सेल्फ. दो अजम साम्यम है. Is the self this in this earth like this? Is there the same self in another planet, in another solar system? पूछते हैं ना. एक एक ब्रह्मांड में एक ब्रह्मदेव होते हैं, एक एक इंद्र होता है. इस तरह डू यू हैव सच सेल्फ इन अदर प्लेस आल्सो? विशुद्ध मीन्स व्हाट? ऐसे वाले दो नहीं है. एवरीवेयर दैट अलोन इज. दैट विशारदा इज विशुद्ध मीन्स सच थिंग्स आर नॉट टू. दैट्स वन. These 7 words or 6 or 7 are so important. Adishanta, Anutpanna, Nirvruta, Aja, Samya and Visharada. 7 words, 6 words. Adishanta, Anutpanna, Sunirvruta, Aja, Samya, Visharada. 6 words you must forget. And Samaha. समाह साम्य हो गया ना. सेम है. अभिन्नाः and visharada can be again one word. So this is what we studied from our standpoint. Now what Karikakar Bhashyakara says we will see. He Tatha api न शांति कर्तव्यता आत्मनि इति आह. Not only it is Adi Buddha, yatha Adi Buddha tatha. We have to clump both the shlokas. Yatha Adi Buddha tatha api shanti kartavyata na atmani. There is no shanti to be done to the Atma by bringing it to the state of moksha from somewhere. It is always mukta only, nitya mukta swarupa. Iti aha. Yasmat. How did it say? Adishantaha. Means what? Nityam eva shantaha. The selves are nitya shanta. This shanti is because there is no thing other than it to bring ashanti to it. Okay, and then from within also there are no reasons for it to become ashanta. Like I become ashanta because of outer resources, I become ashanta from inner resource. There's a potentiality in the mind to become ashanta from within, maybe by habit or maybe influenced by inner vasana. Outside, it is ashanta because of the perceptions which the indriyas bring. इन द प्योर सेल्फ इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट, कोई भी चीज वहां तक जाएगा नहीं, इससे उसको कोई अशांत नहीं कर सकता. इट विल ओनली एट द पेरिफेरी लेवल ओनली इट इज अलाउड, इट इज नॉट अलाउड इनसाइड. फ्रॉम इनसाइड इट इज सो ब्लिसफुली कंप्लीट that there is no reason for it to become ashanta. That is why it's called as adishanta, means nityameva shanta. Now that shanti of the atma is not in contrast with the ashanti. The अशांति शांति आर एट द व्यवहार लेवल, एक आता है एक दूसरा जाता है. बट दैट अल्टीमेट शांति इज in spite of all the ashanti at the superficial level, still it remains as shant. You can call it prashanti. These are all shanti and ashanti. Like the children, husband doing all halagulla, ashanti. Up to 10. When they go to office school, garve shanti. Again, he come ashanti. In both the case of Shanti and Ashanti, the innermost piece is called Prashanti. That is not disturbed by them. That is our goal. Never ever imagine the Atma, Shanti of the Atma is not the Shanti of the Mana. Is Atma ki Shanti ho jaye. That's different language. Because suddenly died, he is not accepting or believing it. They were in such a disturbed state. Therefore, he through these prayers and told, but it can't be avoided. You just have to accept it and move further. He will not listen. Therefore, 12 days are spent to tell him convincingly that it is no more your zone, you just go beyond. Then वो ठीक है करके चले जाता है वो. With every day's upasana, puja, mantra, by that person, धीरे धीरे his attachment for this world goes away. On the 12th day, he accepts and goes that jiva. So that Atma Shanti is different. Anyway, so Adi Shantaha means what? Nityasmeva Shantaha. One or two only explanations are कि the Shanti of the Atma is not created. If it is created, again it gets destroyed. It is eternally Shanti. Shanti our nature. Ananda is our nature. Prema is our nature. Ekata is our nature. Chaitanya Swarupam is our nature. That is me. All other things are just superimposed. Drop them. So Adishanta, Nityame Shanta, and Anutpannaha. These cells are not again Utpanna from some Karana, that after some time go back into that Karana by dropping their own position or status. Like the pot drops its position of being a pot when it goes into its cause called as mud. If not today, one day it will go because the pot is Utpanna. Mud is not Utpanna, therefore it never goes anywhere. It is always there, Anutpanna, from its own standpoint. But the mud and water and air also are utpanna from the absolute standpoint. Therefore, the pralaya kala सब उसमें चले आते. But we are explaining with this example relatively. Relative का example ये लेकर बता रहे. That the mud is anutpanna, pot is utpanna. So pot breaks and goes back to the mud, but mud never goes anywhere. So to the self is anutpanna. No need for it for utpatti. It is always there. What is it? Anutpanna here is it as ajam in the next line. So anutpannaha. Then ajaha cha unborn. Then prakrutya eva sunirvrutaha. By nature only they are nirvrita. What is nirvrita? Sushtu uparata swabhavaha. Be attentive. Sushtu uparata swabhavaha. Sushtu means fully, uparata means withdrawn into itself only. Now this nirvritaha, sushtu uparata swabhavaha, Bhashakara uses another word to explain Nitya Mukta Swabhavaha. Eternally it is liberated. Now join both the words. Uparata Swabhava Nitya Mukta. That means what? When instead of Uparati, when we go to involvement, then only we are getting bound. Therefore, where is liberation? In withdrawing everything into the self. If you don't withdraw yourself into the self, then we are till that moment Nitya Baddha only. Withdrawing into the self is our identity is to be identified with the inner self only, not with any outer layers. So, nirvrutaha nitya uparata swabhavaha, then sushtu uparata swabhavaha nitya mukta swabhavaha ityartaha. And that is the experience gained. But again, I am balancing everything. One thing is what? Unless we insist that I am this, I can't get rid of my jivadi bhava. This is the Vedantic standpoint. Ultimate. And yet, doing these things is not guaranteed because it may be hallucination, imagination only. Then, therefore, to be ensuring it practically, we must accept that we are Jiva Deha, then we are traveling. Otherwise, it may remain as notion without experience. Like मैं नित्य मुक्त हूँ ऐसे बोल रहे हैं लेकिन अनुभव आए कि नहीं पता. But if you know that I am baddha with the Deha Jiva Bhava, then you are consciously putting effort and coming out of it, which you know it. Is it not? Then finally Nitya Mukta achievement will be really achieved. And when you achieve it, the feeling is what? I was never bound. That's the main point, final point. ऐसा कभी बंधन में था ही नहीं मैं कि मुझे मुक्त होना पड़ा, मैं नित्य मुक्त हूँ. After reaching it. Before that, at this moment, I am definitely Jiva, bound by Prakriti. We'll have to do various sadhanas and reach there. So we become a responsible individual, a conscious individual of doing sadhana and ensuring that we are doing and we are moving also. देखो a bhakta by surrendering to the Lord by Lord's grace becomes mukta. A parama utkrishta vairagyavan purusha by saying that aham brahmasmi will get. But that is very rare cases. For all of us, sadhana is only at the prakriti level in the beginning. That we have to get out of prakriti through karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, taking the help of bhakti is support and taking the help of the jnana as the goal. And enjoy doing that also. भक्ति में क्या होता है ना भगवान किया हमको काम आ जाएगा उसमें कि हमने किया करके. In the jnana also is no struggle, but the joy is in struggling. The observe Prakriti, how it is catching you, how it is binding you, and you are equally fighting with it, and ultimately you conquered it. You know, when the mother cooks food and you eat, it's a maja. But that's not when you yourself cook, that joy is different. Because the me is involving in that, no? In doing so. Okay, there's no contradiction. We're just balancing. What is the balance? When you really thoroughly study Mandukya, it talks about Ajata Brahma. Then suddenly we imagine that we may need not do any sadhana. वो बैलेंस करने के लिए again toward the end of the Upanishad, just to help us ourselves as a well-wisher, we are saying that the reality is reality. Where do we stand? Where do we stand? That alone is real. From there only we have to travel. You know, like I have the pains in the body and I'm experiencing them. A very rare individual, one in millions, can say that I am witness to the pain of the body. A person of Ramana Maharshi's cadre. कहाँ राजा भोज and तेली गंगवा? How can it be same? बोलो. So for me, I am having the pain of body. I have to relieve the pain temporarily by taking medicine and permanently by making the body disciplined through all bhojanadi niyama and exercises, and then going beyond body through the pranayama ityadi, and at the mind level by detaching with the body. Without all these things, directly saying even though body is in pain that I'm only sakshi and the stuff, it may be cheating ourselves. That's the point. But it's not impossible. A rare case will do it. That is for sadhana standpoint we are saying. But what is said here is something beyond. यहाँ तो कह रहे यू आर द सेल्फ हु इज आदि शांत अनुत्पन्न प्रकृतेव सुनिर्वृत अज साम्य ऑल दैट इज सेड. Yeah. Then sushtu uparata swabhavah nityamukta swabhavah iti artah. Then it is said कि सर्वे धर्माः समाः च अभिन्नाः च सम अभिन्नाः. You have already seen qualitatively all of them are same. Then little further if you go, not only they are same but they are one, abhinnaः. Like the waters in every country are same. But little further you go, they are not two, they are one. And here one great principle we have to understand. Ki just because some place is dividing the rivers of this country and that country, the water in the river should not be considered as different. It is one only. The nadi shape may be different. The ones people who are using that water of nadi may be different. It may be named also differently. That's okay. But every nadi in the entire world is same. If you can develop that vision, you have become subtle and matured. At the gross level, immature level, मेरे देश का नदी है, तुम्हारे देश का नदी, मैं इसका ये नाम दिया, तुमने वो नाम दिया, मेरे इस नदी से इन खेतों को पानी, हमारे आपके न उनके, how many differences are seen? That's all immature. That's all vyavahara. But whether the water is in Chandramandala or it is in Angaraka Graha, maybe in another total cosmos, इधर galaxy में है, water is same, my dear. If you catch that, you have become subtle. If you're not able to catch, you are in gross. Is it not? My hunger is my hunger, your hunger is your. It's gross. Hunger is same in every being. You have become subtle. Therefore, whatever I have, I share with you, and both of us eat. Then you have matured. My hunger is only hunger, yours I don't care. Therefore, I'll take your also and I eat myself. Even if you die, I don't mind. That's very gross. That's an animal. It's not. What is an animal? Is not matured in his intellect. What is Rakshasa? So selfish for his own deha, he is ready to kill others. That insensitivity. Insensitivity. That is immaturity. समत्व की बात कह रहे हैं हम. All waters are sama and abhinna. More than sama, abhinna. Then ajam, samyam, visharadam. Ajam is known. Always there. Need not to be born. There is no cause for it. Samyam already said it is sama, same qualitatively. Now visharadam means vishuddham, atma tattva. Pure. What is vishuddhiya? ऐसी चीज और कुछ नहीं है. It is one without second. Vishuddham. Yasmat, therefore, because of these reasons, tasmat, therefore, shanti means moksha, na asti kartavya. Va shanti moksha va na asti kartavya ityartah. Remember carefully. वहां उसको शांति करने के लिए कोई कर्म की जरूरत नहीं है. उसको मुक्त करने के लिए कोई बंधन को छुड़ाने की जरूरत नहीं. That's what नित्य शांत नित्य मुक्त. Why? That's what last line. Nahi nitya eka svabhavasya krutam kinchitu arthavat syat. That which is nitya eka svabhava, you know, nothing undoing nothing wrong has happened to that. That's something to be done to undo the happening. Nitya eka svabhavasya krutam kinchit arthavat syat. Means what? That which is eternally the same. has not been tarnished by anything else. Therefore, nothing else requires to reset it. उसको बिगाड़ा नहीं, उसको बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, कह रहे हैं. That is the meaning of this sloka and the bhashya, and this is what my own self. Now, in the next two slokas, first one, avidvan nidda is done, so that we withdraw from continuing to be a avidvamsa or samsari and try to become sadhaka. And then next sloka, vidvat stuti is done, so that we are inspired, encouraged to continue the sadhana, to reach to the self. These two slokas talk this. Then there are only five more with which this karika, this mandukya will be over. But those five are thoda tagda hai. Then the last three mantras given by Adi Shankar also very important, that may take 1 or 2 days. So on the whole, by the end of this month, we will try to conclude our Mandukya Upanishad. Today is 16, 17. So 12 May, what month is this? April, so 31 दिन है. 30 दिन होते हैं अप्रैल में. So maybe next 12-13 days we'll try to see. Then from the May month, fresh, like May only last time started, we are going to study Taittariya. मैं तो पढ़ाऊंगा. आपको आना है तो आओ, नहीं तो आपकी मर्जी. ओके, लेट अस चैंट वैशारद्यंत वै नास्ति. नो, आदिशान्ताय अनुत्पन्नाः प्रकृतेव सुनिर्वृताः सर्वे धर्मा समाभिन्नाः अजं साम्यं विशारदं वैशारद्यंत वै नास्ति वेदे विचरतां सदा वेदनिम्नाः पृथग्वादाः तस्मात् ते कृपणा स्मृताः अजे साम्ये तु एकेचित् भविष्यन्ति सुनिश्चिताः देहि लोके महाज्ञानाः तच्च लोको न गाहते अजेष्वजम् असंक्रांतं धर्मेषु ज्ञानमिष्यते यतो न क्रमते ज्ञानम् असंगं तेन कीर्तितम् अणुमात्रेऽपि वैधर्म्ये जायमाने विपश्चितः असङ्गता सदा नास्ति किमुतावरणच्युतेः अलब्धावरणाः सर्वे धर्माः प्रकृतिनिर्मलाः आदौ बुद्धाः सदा मुक्ताः बुध्यन्ते इति नायकाः क्रमतेनैव बुद्धस्य ज्ञानं धर्मेषु तायिनः सर्वे धर्माः सदा ज्ञानं नैतद्बुद्धेन भाषितं दुर्दर्शमति गम्भीरमजं साम्यं विशारदं बुद्ध्वा पदम् अनानात्वं नमस्कुर्म यथा बलम्. ॐ अजमपि जनियोगं प्रापदैश्वर्ययोगात् अगति जगतिमत्तां प्रापदेकं ह्यनेकं विविधविषयधर्मग्राहिमुग्धेक्षणानां प्रणतभयविहन्तृब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि प्रज्ञावैशाखवेदक्षुभिजलनिधेर्वेदनाम्नोऽन्तरस्थं भूतान्यालोक्यमग्नानि अविरत जननग्राहघोरे समुद्रे कारुण्यादुद्धारामृतमिदं मम अमरैर्दुर्लभं भूतहेतोः यस्तं पूजामि पूज्यं परमगुरुममं पादपातैर्नतोऽस्मि यत्प्रज्ञालोकभासा प्रतीतिमगमत् स्वान्तमोहान्धकारः मज्जोन्मज्ज च घोरैः असकृत उपजनो धन्वति पुत्रासने मे यत्पादावाश्रितानां श्रुतिशमविनयप्राप्तिरग्र्याहमोगा तत्पादौ पावनीयो भवविदौ सर्वभावैर्नमस्ये. सर्वं श्री आदिशंकर गौड़पाद मंडूक ऋषि अतर ऋषि शरण अरविंदार्पणमस्तु. विल सी टुमारो. थैंक यू. ओम 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 पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः वरवर्षिभ्यो नमः परब्रह्मणे नमः. श्रुतिमात्रे मंडुकमहर्षे गौडपादाचार्यवर्याय आद्य शंकरद्गुरवे अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. तत्सत्. ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स. We'll do our